But the injury on her shoulder is not good, which will inevitably affect the wound. Blood suddenly seeped out through the thin clothes, pale. Flower willow face of the color of fun when the convergence of a clean, nervous forward to hold her, but involved in the wound. Xiaoma flower. Don't worry. A word has not finished, Mo Shanghua has come forward to check, look attentive, you avoid. Hua Qianlu grabs Nanha's clothes with his fingertips. The worry in his eyes almost overflows his eyes. Fortunately, he is not the one who dawdles. He soon gets up and goes around the outer room. Mo Shanghua just sat down in Hua Qianliu's position. With her green fingers, she untied Nanhe's skirt flexibly, revealing her thin shoulders wrapped in bandages. On the bandages, there was blood. Without saying a word, Mo Shanghua took apart the bandage and bandaged the wound medicine for Nanhe again. Looking at the enemy in front of him, he was so serious about dealing with his wounds. Nanha felt very sad. I didn't expect that you and I would have such a day. I think it's the limit to live in peace with you under the same roof. Mo Shanghua's hands kept moving, but he laughed and said, don't think it's your own reason. In order to return the favor of Hua Qianlu, I don't want to treat the injury of your wife. South Crane even earlobes are red. Piancheng also pretended to be calm face, and he blocked a sword, but look at the lord's face, there is no other reason, I am not what pavilion lord lady, you don't want to nonsense. However, this serious but flushed look, credibility is not high. Mo Shanghua smiles and deliberately tightens the bandage slightly. Nanhe frowns with pain and takes a breath of cool air. But some pain. Be patient, and I'll find you some painkillers. Outside the room Flower Thousand Willow concerned voice immediately spread to come over. South Crane suddenly understand come over, can't help but droop eyes, pale face is a ruddy. Mo Shanghua tied up the bandage and handed the clean clothes to Nanhe. You see, you just have a little pain, and he is very nervous. Nanha's long eyelashes trembled slightly, and his cheeks were as red as cooked shrimp. Mo Shanghua just stood up, picking up her medicine box and saying in a loud voice, come in. Almost at the moment when the voice fell, Hua Qianlu came in a hurry, squatted in front of Nanhe, carefully supported her shoulder, looked left and right, and asked softly, just now, the wound was torn again? South Crane some uncomfortable body toward the bed inside move, nothing, has been dealt with. When Hua Qianlu saw that she was so cold, she was about to ask again. However, Nanhe pulled up the quilt and only showed his eyes. His voice came from the quilt, I want to have a rest. You go out first. Mingming seems to be so calm on the surface, but in fact, her heart has become a mess because of the words of Flowers. Now, I really don't know how to face the Flowers. I just want to be alone. With Hua Qianliu's character, he might say a few more words, but now he has a lot more patience with Nanhe. He nodded without saying a word, and carefully tucked in the quilt for Nanhe. Then you have a good rest. The medicine you drank these 2 days is quite bitter. I'm going to buy more preserves for you. Finish saying, the vision swept Mo to spend one eye again, two people this just go out together. Just now Hua Qianlu was just waiting in the outer room, separated from the rest place of Nanhe by a screen. Now with Mo Shanghua, he went directly to another room for fear of disturbing Nanhe's recuperation. Mo Shanghua casually found a place to sit down and sighed, I didn't expect that the pavilion master would have such a careful and gentle day, and I didn't expect that the pavilion master was still so heavy-colored. Hua Qianlu refused to comment, and the smile on her face faded. She said, once upon a time, I was alone, and I didn't have any burden on me. But this time, she did so much for me. I've already recognized her in my heart, and I will never look at the woman next to me in the future. The flower on the street is a little surprised to look at the Flowers, which is not like what he can say. After seeing this, I found that he had changed a lot. As usual, he always held a folding fan in his hand. It was like a romantic child in his hand. Today, the folding fan has disappeared. Even the neat bun and sideburns that had been combed all along were slightly disordered, and the stubble on the chin also appeared. It can be seen that from last night to this afternoon, they had not been combed well. Calculate the time, South Crane should wake up at noon. Hua Qianlu, since you are so serious, you should take good care of Nan He in the future. You can't get rid of her. After a pause, she added, I don't know much about her, but I know in my heart that she is a proud and stubborn woman. Don't let her down. Originally the complexion is extremely serious flower thousand willows, Mao light but light flash. Mo Shanghua naturally put this hesitation into his eyes. Before he had time to think about it, he raised his head again and restored his old smile. My son's woman, I should be considerate. You can rest assured. There was a little doubt in the stranger's playboy. It can be seen that his smile is not adulterated at the moment, so he is not pursuing it. Instead, he changed the topic. By the way, General Chen will not give up these days. You should be careful not to be found by him. If you really can't, you can bring Nan He to live in the palace. You have a lot of eyeliner in the palace of the North City brother. We used to only bring you trouble. Hua Qianlu refused, and his smile was full of self-confidence. I know who Hua Qianlu is. There are many hiding places in the imperial city. It will never be found easily. Please worry. Seeing that he was so confident, Mo Shanghua was naturally not able to say anything. He stood up and said, now the wind is tight. I can't come out from time to time. I brought new external medicine today. You can keep it for Nan He. I'll be here when the stitches are removed. Seeing this, Hua Qianlu got up and said, well, I've recorded your kindness this time. I'll let you send you back. No, I'll go back carefully myself. Mo Shanghua shakes her head, refuses the meaning of Hua Qianlu and walks out. Qin didn't go with her this time. It's much more convenient for her to spend time alone in the street. When she got out of the alley, she walked quickly, and soon arrived at the prosperous place in the city. Want to return to the palace, it is necessary to go through this bustling place. Mo Shanghua had to slow down the pace, normal walking. Just passing by an inn for a moment, my eyes were attracted by the noise. At the door of an inn, a woman in white was standing in front of the hall, fighting with a shopkeeper for something. Her white cheeks were already red, which showed that she was very angry. There are more than 10 women in the same dress behind the woman. In front of all the women, a man in white was surrounded by them. All the faces were angry. Only the man was calm and detached, as if it had nothing to do with him. Better no. Mo Shanghua recognized the man in an instant, and the woman who was the leader was Xue Xue. They seem to be in a dilemma. The flowers on the street can't help but squeeze in front of the crowd, which makes the content of their dispute clear. The second child pointed to Xue Xue, and his nostrils almost turned to the sky. He said, this girl, I think you take yourself too seriously. As a second child, I don't know any Wuxian people. I only know that you are driven out of the palace by your majesty. Our temple is too small to accommodate you. You'd better find another place. Xue Xue resisted the impulse to teach the boy. She was angry. I don't want to talk nonsense with you. I want to call out your manager. But in my heart, I was angry. If the inn nearby was willing to take them in, how could they come here? Think of here, Xue Xue heart is a piece of resentment. That small too just is to sneer, turn round then return to inside the shop. This is our shopkeeper's words, in a word we have no vacant room here, quickly walk away, don't block us to do business here. Yu Xue Xue also wants to scold, but the second child has closed the door, and has no intention of arguing with her. Xue Xueduan felt a burst of suffocation in his chest, and looked back at Ning Zhizhi behind him. Holy son, Xue Xue is useless. Miss her Wuxian clan, where she used to go was not welcomed by others, when she was reduced to such a state. Think of here, Xue Xue heart is more aggrieved and depressed. Rather no is indifferent, lift eyes to see the color of the sky, light way, now the color of the sky is not too late, we immediately out of the city also in time. Now there is no better way, Xue Xue should be cured. Mo Shanghua stands in the crowd and looks at this scene. For a moment, she has some complicated feelings. All along, Ning knew that he not only refused Emperor Baorong, but also had a complete quarrel with Yen Moli. Otherwise, it would never be reduced to such a state. It must be Yen Moli's intention. Thinking of this, Mo Shanghua suddenly squeezed out of the crowd, and her eyes fell on Ning Tongji. Would you like to find a place to settle down with me first? Ning knows to no tiny Aleng, very quick reaction comes over, labial horn gently pulls out a wipe radiant, good. Shui Shui was dissatisfied, Shengzi. Ning knew but did not respond. She stepped forward a few steps and stood opposite to Mo Shanghua. Thank you very much. Mo Shanghua nodded slightly and swept around the noisy crowd. There are so many people here. You can find a place with me for a moment. I'll help you find a place to settle down. Rather no full mouth should go down, turn round low voice command, don't have to go out of the city, go with this girl first. Many women in the clan recognized that Mo Shanghua was Princess Yu, but they didn't open their mouth and obediently followed Ning Tongji's steps. Shui Shui was discontented and could not contradict so many people, so she had to shut her mouth and keep up with them. On the way, Hua and Ning Tongji had a chat, knowing that no restaurant or inn in the city would receive them. After thinking about it, he first took them to Hua Qianliu's tea house, and then personally went to find Hua Qianliu, and asked him to find a house. Mo Shanghua saves Nanhe. Hua Qianliu doesn't even pay for the money, so he directly asks Mo Shanghua to bring them to a courtyard next to the house where he and Nanhe live. How many industries do you have? Mo Shanghua looks at the spacious and clean house in front of her eyes and can't help sighing. It's enough for the house to know that it's okay to add a few more people, not to mention the temporary rehousing. In a place like the Imperial City, where every inch of land is worth every inch of money, Hua Qianliu has 2 adjacent yards. It's really a local tyrant. However, for the shock of flowers on the street, Hua Qianliu is quite calm, even a little disapproval, it's just 2 temporary shelters. I still have some elegant houses in the city. I'll show you some experience in the future, so as not to be like this. He really said he was fat and began to pant. Mo Shanghua glanced at him lightly, went forward to close the door of the courtyard, turned around and walked along the way. Lord of the pavilion, I think you'd better hurry back to accompany Nanhe, and be careful that the grape trellis of the courtyard will fall to the ground one day. Flower Willow cover lip light cough, immediately changed the topic. Although you bring people here, I also convenient to help you look at. They are all people with immortal skills. How can ordinary people see them? Besides, you don't have to be like this. If you're being discovered, it's not good looking. It's not magic, but it's just ordinary people. Flower Willow is like being trampled on the pain in general, almost jumped up, you just rest assured, I have my own discretion. Mo Shanghua glanced at him lightly, but the look in his dark eyes seemed to be extremely distrustful. Hua Qianliu's jumping foot is a pity that he hasn't had time to say anything yet. As soon as the flower on the street is in shape, he has already carried his lightness skill and left quickly. Hua Qianliu looks at the disappearing figure of the flowers on the street, turns around and looks at the vacant house. There is a feeling of thoughtfulness in her eyes, and she doesn't admit defeat and is curious. He really wants to see the magic of the witches and fairies. It's getting late. Mo Shanghua takes Ning Tongji to the residence and goes directly back to the palace. Without mentioning any questions, she worries Shui for nothing. She's afraid that Mo Shanghua will seize the opportunity to laugh at her. Ning knew that finally personally sent flowers out of the street, and asked with a smile, I don't know how the princesses sleep recently. The perplexity and vigilance in the flower eyes on the street gushed out together, and the temperature in the eyes faded slightly. Do you know? Rather no, but just low Mao a smile. Mao inside have no half-cent malicious. Princess, don't misunderstand, I just casually ask. The flowers on the street stop and look at Ning Tongji. In her heart, she was calculating to make sure that she would rather know whether there was malice against her and what the purpose was. However, his eyes are as clear as water. When he looks to the end, he doesn't know what he thinks. He can't even see the mood fluctuation. This person is indeed the most difficult and the most profound person I have ever met. All your actions are so strange that I don't understand what you want to do. Pondering for a long time, Mo Shanghua simply comes to the point and asks all the questions in his heart. Rather no, just look at her light, lips hanging a touch of shallow radiant. I once told you, when the time comes, everything can be seen clearly. Mo Shanghua's eyes were fixed on his eyes, but half of the emotional fluctuations were not captured. When he was frustrated, he could not help asking again, what about those dreams? Those dreams start to repeat themselves when they touch you. Ning knows that the expression is still indifferent. In the dream thought, all has the reason. It's different from the usual indifference of flowers on the street. Mo Shanghua is due to experience too many things, so in the face of all changes can do not panic. And rather know the indifferent, but like after life and death, old, vicissitudes, so everything can maintain the normal heart. There's a reason for what I think in my dream. Mo Shanghua whispers this sentence in her mouth. I don't know why, but there is a trace of uneasiness in her heart. He was about to ask again, but he was gone. He was only accompanied by the empty darkness. That night, Mo Shanghua took the wooden box again, tried and tried, but did not successfully open the box, had to give up. Only that night, she did not know why, did not do that strange dream, a night without a dream to sleep to the next day. The big event is coming, so I can't concentrate too much on this strange dream and Ning Zhizhi. On the court hall, the people who played the role of garrison troops in Yanbei City disappeared, so they began to write again and again, asking Yanbei City to return to the city as soon as possible. This matter played continuously for half a month. Emperor Baorong had already loosened his mouth, so Yan Zhenchuan stood up and temporarily blocked it back. Yan Moli naturally refused to give up. After that, he asked the Eastern Marquis to come up and tell him that Yan Beicheng, as a vassal, was not willing to return to the fiefdom. He had a bad plan. Baorong Emperor also had doubts about it, but before he could correct the memorial, he was surprised to hear that the Empress Dowager was suddenly seriously ill. In this way, not to mention Yanbei City, the rest of the princes have to go to the palace every day to wait for illness. Mo Shanghua, the royal daughter-in-law, naturally has to go to the palace with Yanbei City every day to wait for illness. When the Empress Dowager is old, the disease will be fierce, and it is possible to drive the crane ferry to the palace at any time. Therefore, everyone in the palace is worried that if something goes wrong, the charge of killing the Empress Dowager will fall on him. The ministers who mentioned Yan Beicheng's vassal affair in the court are all silent, and can't mention it for the time being. If it is said that the worst thing is Yan Moli. Today, he was replaced by the third prince. As soon as he returned to the study of the palace, his face was completely gloomy. Why did the emperor's grandmother get sick at this time? Did you find out what I asked you to check? The counselor knelt down in fear. I have repeatedly explored this matter, and there is no sign of anyone else doing it. The Empress Dowager's health has always been bad. It should not be an accident. Seeing that Yan Beicheng had been staying in the imperial city for nearly 3 months, Yan Moli's temper became more and more fierce, and he could not help kicking on the counselor's shoulder. Waste, all waste. In the past few months, have you ever done something to make me feel comfortable? The counselor didn't dare to cry out for the pain, so he knelt down and straightened himself, and his body trembled gently. Another counselor around him is also the same atmosphere, dare not come out, the forehead on the ground is wet. Yan Moli's face was gloomy, and he stood at the table, his whole face full of irritability. The Empress Dowager's illness is unusual. Now a month has passed, and there is no sign of improvement. Yan Beicheng has taken this opportunity to stay in the imperial city. Although Emperor Baorong is indifferent and righteous, he is still filial to the Empress Dowager, and he is very irritable in the imperial court. After dealing with several ministers, no one dares to mention Yan Beicheng's affairs, so he has been delaying. Seeing that the Empress Dowager's condition is not getting better, if she dies again at this time, it will take at least half a year to drive Yan Beicheng back to Yuzhou. Think so, Yan Moli Mao inside almost took fire, is really bad luck, bad luck. While the counselors were frightened by Yan Moli's anger, they were also more afraid. My own grandmother was ill, and she thought only of her own interests. She was really cruel and heartless. It is this kind of person who is most suitable to sit in the seat of God. Your Highness, calm down. A counselor shook his body and said cautiously, Your Majesty's body is still healthy now. Everything should be done slowly. In fact, there are other ways to strike the king you first. Yan Beiqing turned his head and stared coldly at the counselor without opening his mouth. The counselor did not dare to lift his head, and his forehead was dripping with cold sweat on the ground. Your Highness, you might as well start with Princess Yu. Yan Mo's eyes narrowed slightly with less violence. You mean? The counselor was a little relieved and raised his hand to wipe the cold sweat on his forehead. Now there are only people of Princess Yu in the palace of King Yu who love her like a treasure. Princess Yu is extremely intelligent. If you can remove her, you can not only break the arm of King Yu, but also make him in chaos. The Empress Dowager is seriously ill this time. With her previous experience of saving Yan Xinchuan, Mo Shanghua has to do it again. However, she didn't spare no effort to stabilize the Empress Dowager's condition, so she frankly said that her medical skills were shallow. Last time, she was just lucky. She muddled through and gave all these things to the hospital. Mo Shanghua is proud to get away, Lu Zheng is not so easy. Since he took good care of Yan Xinchuan's body, Emperor Baorong has been summoning him from time to time. Now the heavy responsibility of treating the Empress Dowager also falls on him. Mo Shanghua also got the exact news from him. Baorong Emperor's body is only strong on the outside but weak in the middle, and the inside is already empty. When he attacks in the future, he will be directly depressed. Mo Shanghua wanted to use this matter to solve the dilemma of Yanbei City for a while. Unexpectedly, the Empress Dowager fell ill at this time. It was a blessing in disguise, but it also slowed down the process. On the other side of General Chen, after a while in the city, he stopped and there was no movement. Lin Xiangyin, who had been banned, was also released and went to the palace every day to wait for her illness. On the contrary, the Empress and imperial concubine Chen, who were already living in the palace, showed no sign of absolution. Today, the Empress Dowager's spirit is better, and the women's family members, such as Mo Shanghua, are a little more relaxed. They just sit and talk with the Empress Dowager. The Empress Dowager is sitting on her couch, with a thick soft pillow behind her. Her eyes are flabby and drooping down. She looks very spiritless, but it's better than a few days ago. Over the past month, you've been taking care of the family. The family is very moved. You're all filial children. When the Empress Dowager praised her so much, the people did not dare to be proud. They all sat down and did not say a word. Empress Lin, who has the most right to speak, is not here. Now the most respectable lady in front of Baorong Emperor can only smile and say, this is what concubines should do. The Empress Dowager doesn't have to praise it like this. The Empress Dowager seemed to like Xu Fei very much. She took her hand and said with a smile, Xu Fei, I heard that you have to take care of the mourning family, the emperor's side and the harem. It's very hard. Xu Fei lowered her eyes, smiling gently and respectfully, I just did my duty. The Empress Dowager always praised me like this. I'm really ashamed. Having said that, the green shadow under her eyes could not be covered by any means. Princess Li and other concubines who have children sit by and laugh with her, but their hearts are sour. Although tired, but so tired, they really do not want to come. The third prince and other princes have not yet got married. Therefore, the only women of the granddaughter-in-law's generation are Mo Shanghua and Lin Xiangyin. They are young and have small generations. When the Empress Dowager speaks, she can only stand beside the concubines. However, compared with the concubines who have no right to speak, such as Li Fei, they seem to have a little weight. Therefore, Lin Xiangyin turned her eyes slightly and said with a smile, the emperor's grandmother didn't know something about it, and the 5 younger brothers and sisters also made great contributions to it. As expected, the Empress Dowager looked at it, with a little curiosity in her turbid eyes. How can I say this? Mo Shanghua was just about to explain. Lin Xiangyin quickly snatched the beginning of the story. 5 younger brothers and sisters had excellent medical skills. When you first got sick, it was 5 younger brothers and sisters who used their medical skills to turn the tide. Even a group of Thai doctors in Thai hospital couldn't compare with them. The Empress Dowager has never seen more flowers on the street. After Lin Xiangyin said so, she couldn't help looking at her more. I heard that you saved Xianer's life before. On the street, Huo Yan's eyebrows were low and her eyes were neither humble nor arrogant. It's just too much rumor to go back to the emperor's grandmother. The granddaughter-in-law didn't have such great ability. It's just that at that time the imperial doctors were too worried and didn't dare to help, and they didn't dare to bear the reputation. Although the Empress Dowager is big, she has her own standards for judging people. The eyes of examination turned around on Mo Shanghua's body, nodded in his heart, and even laughed at her. You are young, and you can still keep your normal heart after getting such great credit, so you are a good child. Granddaughter-in-law dare not. This kind of time, the flower will pose lower. Today's Empress Dowager, although no longer in power, but her words, the role is still great. Lin Xiangyin saw that Mo Shanghua was praised by the Empress Dowager. Bei Qi bit her lip lightly and said, Grandmother Huang, 5 younger brothers and sisters have always been so kind and know how to hide. By the way, although the emperor's grandmother has been very well these 2 days, I heard that there are still some headache problems from time to time. Why don't you let the 5 younger brothers and sisters feel the pulse for the emperor's grandmother? Let's all open our eyes. Xu Fei frowned. As soon as she was about to speak, the beautiful concubine behind her spoke happily. Concubines always just heard that they had never seen Princess Yu perform this miraculous medical skill. I also want to see it. Another concubine was afraid that things would not be common, so she opened her mouth. In the past, these concubines did not dare to fight with the empress because of their luxuriant branches, strong mother family and tough tactics. Now they have to do much better in the face of the beautiful concubines. I'm afraid there will be no excitement. Xu Fei also felt something wrong in her heart. She quickly said, Empress Dowager, there is a doctor in the palace to take care of you. After all, Princess Yu is the daughter-in-law of the heavenly family. She has a noble status. I'm afraid to make people laugh. 5 younger brothers and sisters are close relatives of the emperor's grandmother. Who dares to laugh? Lin Xiangyin, who always had no sense of propriety in her speech, seemed to have opened her mind at the moment, and her words did not leak. Sure enough, the beautiful imperial concubine etc. see this, also follow to echo. Mo Shanghua looked around and quickly looked at the Empress Dowager, who had never spoken. It's not the granddaughter-in-law who doesn't want to. It's just the doctor who gave you the pulse of peace this morning. The granddaughter-in-law is asking for the pulse now. I'm afraid she can't see anything. The Empress Dowager nodded slightly. Just as she was about to express her approval, Lin Xiangyin crossed her eyebrows and blurted out, Do you mean to think that the emperor's grandmother is too busy? The room, which had just had a bit of life, was quiet, and the breathing sounds between each other seemed to be magnified by countless times, especially clearly into the ear. The Empress Dowager's wrinkled face was tinged with anger. Lin Xiangyin felt that she had said something wrong. She knelt down quickly and said, Granddaughter-in-law, please forgive me. I just said that what she said today is not like her style. It's really beyond praise. Mo Shanghua sighed silently in her heart, and her red lips said, At the beginning, you were egging on me, sister-in-law of the second emperor. If it wasn't for my grandmother, I would really doubt your intention. The implication is that Lin Xiangyin encouraged the Empress Dowager to go up with flowers. The public heard secretly frightened, then even the lady also changed face, quietly to the stranger to make a wink. In the past, I used to see that my husband was very hard at talking. Today, I used it on myself. Only then did Lin Xiangyin know what it was that she was too late to repent. The color of her pretty face was so sad and frightened that she said, Grandmother, granddaughter-in-law has no other meaning. Granddaughter-in-law just wants to please you. She has no other meaning. Please forgive granddaughter-in-law for her filial piety. Unfortunately, Mo Shanghua is not so easy to give up. If someone has hurt her twice, she must pay back several times. Oh. Just to please the emperor's grandmother. Mo Shanghua's epilogue is slightly picked up. How can you hear it? How can you have a sense of meaning? In this case, why don't you think about it yourself? If you play the part or act like a fool, there's always a way to win the favor of the emperor's grandmother. Why bother to push this blessing on me? The faces of all the concubines could be described as wonderful. They were shocked, but they had the same look as watching a good play. They were staring at Lin Xiangyin. Lin Xiangyin was almost dazed by her words. Even if she was not smart, she couldn't find a retort now. She was so scared that she knelt up to the Queen Mother's bed. Tears filled her eyes uncontrollably in fear, and her voice was hoarse. Grandmother, you believe that granddaughter-in-law really doesn't mean that, granddaughter-in-law. Then she burst into tears, pointed to the flower on the street, and complained, she's the one who always looks at me deliberately framed me, my. As he spoke, he kept burping, and his words were intermittent. The flower on the street looked at Lin Xiangyin crying in front of her eyes, and the last trace of guilt in her heart disappeared. Even if she helped Lin Xiangyin because of her own interests at the beginning, it would be her wish. Hate or resentment, Lin Xiangyin should not change her direction quickly after her wedding, making it difficult to frame her everywhere. Before Lu Qian's matter she has not investigated, this time will not be soft-hearted. The second emperor's sister-in-law had ulterior motives, and asked the emperor's grandmother to see clearly. Think of this, the flower cold voice mouth, and then also straight kneel in front of the Empress Dowager. She always used to win for herself in this way, but she forgot that the Empress Dowager was also an old man over 50 years old. Enough. Shut up unexpectedly, the Empress Dowager's anger was not only vented to Lin Xiangyin alone, but also spread to the flowers on the street. You two sisters-in-law quarreled endlessly in front of the mourning family because of such a small matter. Do you want the mourning family to die early? Xu Fei and others immediately knelt down, please forgive me. Lin Xiangyin bit out her lip and did not dare to cry. She shrugged and knelt on the ground, her face full of tears. Mo Shanghua's body is still straight on her knees, but her cheek is hanging down. She thinks in her heart which step is wrong, which will make the Empress Dowager furious. The Empress Dowager leaned against the thick soft pillow, her chest fluctuated rapidly and her face was full of anger. One didn't care to fight for the limelight, the other didn't give up when she got the handle. You two let the sad family down. Let's go out to Ai Jia. Ai Jia doesn't want to see you too. Mo Shanghua feels dissatisfied in her heart. She just wants to open her mouth to explain. Then she sees Xu Fei looking at her and gesturing to her with her eyes. She purses her lips. My daughter-in-law is leaving. Then he got up and left. Lin Xiangyin was also helped up by her maidservant. She said goodbye, and then walked out of the hall with her. Two people meet outside the hall. Lin Xiangyin with a pair of swollen eyes, glared at the flower on the street. Mo Shanghua is not affected at all. She has a light glance at her, and then takes Qinya to go directly. Walking in the rain, I just met Yanbei City who came to meet her. It was a little slow. What's the matter? Why isn't your face so good? Yan North City Mao light swept one eye on her face, in the eyes gush a few minutes worry. Qinya took a look at Mo Shanghua. Seeing her permission, she said all the things from beginning to end. Yan Beicheng raised his hand and stroked the corner of Mo Shanghua's lips without the slightest smile. He joked, you are not at a loss either. I think that Huang's sister-in-law will lose her face today. I don't know how to dislike her when I go back. But there was still no smile on the flower face. There was a little doubt in my eyes all the time. It's not so. I just don't understand why the Empress Dowager even scolded me. I didn't do anything wrong. After Qinya silently looked at his master and helped his forehead. Her master is really very slow in this aspect of emotion. This idea just turned around, then saw walking on the side of his master's son, the tall Yan Beicheng was silent, and did not answer for a long time. Mo Shanghua helped her forehead again. She could not help but explain, Princess, the Empress Dowager is old, so she naturally wants to have peace with her descendants. In the past, all the old women in the neighboring villages were like this. When I was a child, I fought with my brother, and my grandmother scolded me for it. Mo Shanghua has never been in touch with family affection. The old man's expectation is something she doesn't understand at all. Yan Beiqing has known since childhood that if she wants to sit on the throne, she has to be fraternal. How can she pay attention to an old man's idea? In this way, both of them suddenly realized. Then, they looked at each other and laughed. Mo Shanghua pursed her lips. For half a month, she was so relaxed with a smile. You and I are not as transparent as Qinya thought. Yan North City also self-mocking smile, eyes across a touch of dark color, I also rarely contact. That's another similarity between you and me. After the flowers on the street have laughed, they can't help whispering. Unknowingly, they had already arrived at the place where the carriage was parked at the gate of the palace. Before the boy who was there had time to move down the stool, Yan Beiqing suddenly stepped forward, picked up the flower on the street and put it directly on it. Mo Shanghua had no time to exclaim. She was already sitting on the carriage. Yan Bei City long legs a step also on the carriage, toward the flowers pick lips a smile. The couple had a good time. They pitied Qinya. Looking at the carriage in front of them, they wanted to cry. In the end, the boy put down his stool and Qinya Kai came up slowly. Inside the couple, Qinya sits outside the carriage with the boy, and doesn't plan to go in and continue to be poked. Sitting in the carriage, Mo Shanghua was relaxed and comfortable. Although she was reprimanded by the Empress Dowager today, fortunately, she was finally relaxed. Her smile seemed to be infectious, which affected Yan Beiqing's mood and made him feel better. He looked at her with a smile on his lips. Mo Shanghua and Yan Beiqing looked at each other for a moment, rarely took the initiative to lean on his shoulder, voice down again, however, I'm afraid the days in the future will be more difficult. Now even Lin Xiangyin and Yan Moli are totally in the same mind and against her. Although Princess Li and others don't have great skills, they have great ability to mix water. Princess Shu can't play a big role alone. Yan Beiqing raised his hand to hold the thin shoulder of Mo Shanghua, and his voice was low, not only the inner palace, but also more blood storms in the future. After a pause, he said, the Emperor is more and more urgent to take the elixir of immortality recently. I still put it according to the previous proportion, but he is not satisfied. He invited some warlocks to the palace to make pills. The flower eyebrows on the street slightly frowned, so, I'm afraid it's a way to die. Wait, didn't you dissuade me? For a long time, the position of your national teacher was only unfavorable. Yan Beiqing is extremely confident to pick the corner of his lips, half of his eyes are sarcastic, half smile, you just rest assured, my position will not easily shake, don't forget, Yan Xinchuan was forced away by me. Mo Shanghua knew that he was just joking, so he deliberately demolished his platform, don't talk nonsense, it's clearly his own practice to leave the palace. Yan North City dropped Mao to see a bosom can be angry but cold person's son, in Mao but suspiciously flash over some jealousy, that rather know to have no time Imperial City. Of course not yet. Mo Shanghua shakes his head and says casually. Yan Beiqing was stirred up by this sentence and said, what is nature not yet? The Emperor and Yan Moli can't hold him anymore. Why doesn't he leave? Look at you. For a long time, Mo Shanghua had already found out his temperament and couldn't help chuckling. It's reasonable for him not to leave. Since January, I haven't been there anymore. All the news came from Hua Qianlu. Seeing the attitude of Mo Shanghua, Yan Beiqing felt a little less jealous. He hummed and closed Mo Shanghua to his arms. Yan Beiqing, when did you learn this skill of guessing the 8 trigrams of astronomy and geography? I don't know. It's easy to see these things. Talking big again. Mo Shanghua smiles and leans in his arms. He only feels that although it is hard now, the years are so gentle. Ling Wangfu. Not long after Lin Xiangyin sat down, Yan Moli broke in directly, and even the maid who informed her would have time to come in. At the moment, Yan Moli's gentleness was completely gone. On such a handsome face, it was full of melancholy and anger. Lin Xiangyin only looked at it, and her heart shrank. All down. Yan Moli is to return Lin Xiangyin to keep some face, did not attack directly. The next people all see something wrong. They dare not stay for a second. As soon as they listen to Yan Moli's instructions, they run down. All that's left in the room is Yan Moli and Lin Xiangyin. Lord, I'm not good at everything today. I can't finish what you told me. Don't be angry. Lin Xiangyin carefully raised her eyes to Yan Mo, and said softly. Originally, what happened today was that Yan Moli and Lin Xiangyin discussed with each other and asked her to try to make the Empress Dowager unhappy. It's better to be reprimanded, but she messed up everything and was still so shameful in full view of the public. Yan Moli forcefully clamped Lin Xiangyin's shoulders on both sides, and his handsome face looked gloomy as if he could drip water. Lin Xiangyin, the king has already told you what to say. Why can't you even learn to speak well? Do you know that all the people who have been told about your disgrace today are aware of it? Even the king is disgraced because of it. Lin Xiangyin had never seen Yan Moli look so terrible. She had a look of fear in her eyes. Wang Yi, no, cousin, I didn't mean to. Don't do this. I'm afraid. Yan Moli, who had been so gentle to her in the past, now evaporated in the world. As soon as she released her hand, she was out of control and stepped back. Yan Moli Mao in but don't have the slightest pity of color, cold voice Wei, this king really shouldn't believe you. This word stabbed into Lin Xiangyin's heart like a needle. Her pretty face turned pale. Cousin, what are you talking about? You still won't forgive me. But as you know, she is eloquent, and I'm not her rival at all. Besides, she was reprimanded by the emperor's grandmother in the end, and I didn't screw up the matter. As he spoke, he became more and more aggrieved, and his eyes filled with hot tears. However, Yan Moli did not see it, and there was no temperature inside the eagle's eyes. The purpose of my king is to make the Empress Dowager dislike you, not to be reprimanded with you. What's more, do you really think that you can achieve your goal by just giving a reprimand? That's naive. Such a cold appearance, Lin Xiangyin heart pain, tears along the pale cheek flow all over her face. Cousin, I'm wrong, I'm not good, you don't like this. He just glanced at Lin Xiangyin coldly, then walked away directly. Tomorrow morning, you will go to the palace to plead with the emperor's grandmother, and then you will stay in the house to reflect on yourself. Don't be shameful when you go out. So said, his heart has begun to calculate another way to deal with the flowers on the street. It's such a thorny problem that if you don't get rid of it every day, it's a huge hidden danger. He brushed away, but Lin Xiangyin was as if she had been pierced by thousands of sharp blades. She was powerless to the ground, full of grievances and heartache. She couldn't help crying. How could his cousin, who was always so gentle to her, become like this? It's clear that he loved her like a treasure before, but it's just better for her after marriage. Except for Lu Qianqian, who was unexpected before, there is no other concubine in the house. Now the big marriage is only 4 months, even half a year. Why is it like this? It's flowers on the street. It must be her. Today's various, all because she will become today's appearance, cousin will treat her like this. In fact, there is her in my cousin's heart. It must be because of the fact that she is against my cousin everywhere. Thinking about this, Lin Xiangyin seemed to find the source of things, and finally got up, with a strong hatred in her eyes. In the quiet suburb, a man covered in a wide black cloak stood opposite another man who was slightly tall and also wrapped tightly. They reached out and followed some people who were wrapped tightly in black. The man with a little shorter body opened his mouth first, and his voice was slightly old. Your Majesty's body is getting worse day by day now, and His Royal Highness Ling still can't get the holy favor again. The man at the top of the hill said with a smile, this is the end of his family's fortune. Did the people who spied on you and me some time ago catch you? The short man was obviously not as happy as he was, and asked in a low voice. Hi, a person's cloak will be the bottom of the mood temporarily down, said, don't worry, people have already caught and solved, things will never be revealed. It's better to be cautious. The short man is obviously more stable. We can't act too fast now. We are good at fighting when they are both defeated. In that sentence, this matter must not be disclosed to the third prince. His temperament will certainly show his feet. Don't worry. After a few words, they separated in a hurry and went around in different directions to return to the city. It wasn't long after Mo Shanghua and Yan Beiqing returned to the palace that the lady sent her own female official to come. The female official was as calm as a lady. She was especially polite when she met Yan Beiqing and Mo Shanghua. I've seen your Royal Highness, Princess Yu. Mo Shanghua nodded gently, and ordered Qinya to help her up. Qinya is very considerate and tactful now. She helps the woman official up with a smile and says, my sister has gone to this trip. That female official also friendly smile, originally want to rush to take a message before the princess goes out of the palace, didn't expect or slow some. Qinya is smiling, just want to put a purse in the past according to the usual rules, but Mo Shanghua gently shakes her head, she immediately retreats to one side. This female official is so considerate in her work, and she is also taught by the lady. I don't think she will accept it easily. It's a nuisance. Mo Shanghua stepped forward 2 steps, with a polite smile on her lips. I don't know if Lady Shufei has any sign. The woman officer did not dare to neglect, but corrected her face and said, Lady Shu asked her maidservant to report it on her behalf. Today, she is just angry with the Empress Dowager's temper. Please go to make amends tomorrow morning, and she will be forgiven by the Empress Dowager. After a pause, the female official lowered her voice. The lady asked Her Majesty to be benevolent and filial. Now the wind in the palace has changed. Now it's up to the Empress Dowager. The female official said goodbye with a smile, the lady's words are here, and the maidservant will leave. Wait a minute. Mo Shanghua suddenly called the female officer, eyes light Shin Ning, lady, is there anything else you want to say? The female official's eyes flashed, and she glanced around, obviously with some scruples. No one here will know, just say so. When Yan Beiqing saw this, he simply began to explain. Your Majesty has become more and more irritable recently, and his spirit began to be bad at night, and he recovered the next day. The female official said cautiously, this is what the lady said to her 13 Highness. Her Highness asked her maidservant to repeat it quietly and asked her Royal Highness to keep it secret. Presumably, it was Shufei who was worried that the incident would cause chaos. The flower on the road is clear with the chest, see the female official's eyes particularly sincere, thank you. Princess, please don't say that. I can't bear it. It's getting late. Please let Her Royal Highness have a rest earlier. I'll leave. The female official lowered her head and stepped back slowly, and soon disappeared. Mo Shanghua Yan Beiqing looks at each other, and there is a flash of thinking in each other's eyes. Things may change beyond their knowledge. The next morning, Mo Shanghua entered the palace, and the Marquis was in front of the Empress Dowager's palace, waiting for the Empress Dowager to summon him. To some surprise, Lin Xiangyin was even earlier than her. Lin Xiangyin is not a person who can hide her mind. She lost such a big face yesterday. Now when she sees the flowers in the street, she just presents herself according to the etiquette and has no words. Her white cheeks also with a touch of green shadow, a pair of eyes are still red and swollen. Qinya sighed in the heart a rightful, toward the Mo up flower new mouth, let her see together. Mo Shanghua slightly droops her eyes and stands upright in front of the Empress Dowager's palace. Yu Guang sweeps Qinya's expression and quietly raises her foot and gently kicks her calf. The ladies in waiting outside the door, who seem to be looking down, are actually quietly watching. They must be cautious in their words and deeds. Qinya was so clever that she remembered that she was in the palace now. She immediately hung her head and clubbed in the same place. The Empress Dowager was upset yesterday. Today, she will not be put in easily. Mo Xianghua and Lin Xiangyin stood outside for an hour before they could see the Empress Dowager in the inner hall. Today's Empress Dowager is still leaning on the bed as she was yesterday. Her mother is waiting on her to drink medicine. When they come in, they don't even lift their eyelids. Mo Xianghua and Lin Xiangyin knelt down together. Granddaughter-in-law greets the emperor's grandmother, and the emperor's grandmother Jinan. The Empress Dowager, who was drinking the medicine with her eyes drooping, only released one hand and put it at will. She continued to drink the soup in the bowl and put Lin Xiangyin aside. Lin Xiangyin was obviously very worried. Seeing that she was left out in the cold, she didn't dare to ask questions. She just hung her head and bit her lip. She was afraid that more words would irritate the Empress Dowager. Mo Xianghua thinks quickly in his brain, and also stands with a low brow. After the Empress Dowager had taken the medicine, she still ignored their plans. She talked to her mother about her family and left the two princesses in the air. Lin Xiangyin was more and more worried, and the handkerchief in her hand was pinched and changed. Mo Xianghua didn't pay attention to Lin Xiangyin, but felt that it was not the way all the time. She simply took the initiative to say, "Grandmother Huang, my granddaughter-in-law came here today to apologize for yesterday's incident." Then he knelt down with his skirt. "My granddaughter-in-law acted recklessly yesterday and annoyed the emperor's grandmother. She knew she was guilty and didn't dare to ask for her forgiveness. I just hope that the emperor's grandmother didn't have to forgive my granddaughter-in-law like this and keep her anger in her heart." After a pause, he said, sullen and depressed, "It's bad for the body. The granddaughter-in-law dare not harm the emperor's grandmother. If you want to find fault, you can't find any." Naturally, Lin Xiangyin is not as clever as Mo Xianghua. She only knows that if Mo Xianghua kneels down, it's not good for her to stand so foolishly. She kneels down too busy. "My granddaughter-in-law has come to ask for forgiveness from the emperor's grandmother." The Empress Dowager's eyes only glanced at Lin Xiangyin and then fell on Mo Xianghua. "It's a pity that you are eloquent and sharp-mouthed to please me." The flowers on the street drooped their eyes, neither humble nor arrogant. The emperor's grandmother is the granddaughter-in-law's elder, so granddaughter-in-law should do this filial duty. Lin Xiangyin was only afraid that the flower in the street would snatch everything she wanted to say. She hurriedly said, "As the daughter-in-law of the heavenly family, son's daughter-in-law should abide by filial piety. Only in this way can she set an example for the world and not lose her royal face." The voice fell, but the Empress Dowager recognized Lin Xiangyin's words more, and her face softened. "Get up first, don't kneel all the time." Then, looking at Lin Xiangyin with satisfaction, "You're right. As a royal man, you should always keep your royal face in mind. If you always have to be unreasonable and make things easy and make people laugh, where is my royal face?" Lin Xiangyin quietly breathed out a breath and turned her eyes to look at the flowers on the street. "Just stand up on the street flower, smell speech and kneel down, granddaughter-in-law no wrong, also ask the emperor grandmother punish." Seeing this, the Empress Dowager sighed helplessly, "Well, your child is just as miserable as the fifth child. Get up, and your family is no longer upset." But she didn't show any thanks on her face. She stood up again with her eyes down in front of the Queen Mother's bed. Her posture was very elegant. She was the best parenting mother, and she didn't make mistakes. The Empress Dowager looked at Lin Xiangyin on the other side again. "Recently, you are very tired because of mourning for your family. The princes have also worked hard. You should take good care of your husband in the mansion. You should learn to take care of the overall situation and not be impulsive." Son's daughter-in-law obeys the instruction. The Empress Dowager began to teach in person. As her granddaughter-in-law, she and Lin Xiangyin had to be taught obediently. The Empress Dowager was just about to make them kneel down, but Lin Xiangyin suddenly raised her head and forced herself to smile. "Grandma, my granddaughter-in-law has brought you some excellent velvet antler, and some dong yi jiao, which is rich in Lin County, to nourish you." The Empress Dowager naturally had no reason to refuse. She said with a smile, "You are a filial child. Then he turned his eyes and looked at the close mother who was waiting beside him. You go and get the jadeite bracelets of the mourning family. The mammy answered and soon went down. Although the Empress Dowager was angry before, she gave them all face. The only one who served in the house was the mother. Now the mother went down, and there were only 3 of them in the house. The flower on the street was not aware of the difference, and there was a sense of shame on her face. Yuzhou is remote, and her granddaughter-in-law really has nothing to give to the emperor's grandmother. Please don't blame her. Qinya glanced at her master's face full of shame, and her lips could not help but draw. Not long ago, Emperor Baorong rewarded many good things. Before going out, she asked specially, but Mo Shanghua responded boldly, what good things are there in the Empress Dowager's palace? Think of here, Qinya can't help but sigh, his master is really dark. If she had been as sober as yesterday, she would have made a few sarcastic remarks. Today, it seems that her whole body and mind are trying to win back the Empress Dowager's favor. Seeing that the Empress Dowager was in a good mood, she boldly stepped forward and stood beside her bed. Grandmother, your spirit is getting better and better day by day. You can recover within half a month. The Empress Dowager leaned on the soft pillow, with a gentle smile on her face. You are such a sweet child. How can you expect to recover at my age? Then he took the handkerchief and coughed softly. Seeing this, Lin Xiangyin hurriedly took the dirty handkerchief from the Empress Dowager, folded it and put it aside. Mo Shanghua didn't plan to go forward, but Qinya was eager in her heart and kept winking at her. She knew that Qinya was for her own good, so she didn't want to avoid it. She also stepped forward, but before she could speak, her eyes stopped at Lin Xiangyin's fingertips. Noble women like to keep long nails, and they dye them with cardan to show that their fingers are long and white. Lin Xiangyin is no exception. It's just that people's nails are slightly transparent when they are long, and they don't look blood red when they are dyed with cardan. They just look more transparent. But Lin Xiangyin's long nail is not like this. The extremely beautiful dyed cordon has no sense of penetration. It seems that the nail is blocked by something. If ordinary people may not be aware of it, but in the eyes of Mo Shanghua, who uses poison all the year round, it can be seen at a glance. She didn't know how many times she used this method. Lin Xiangyin is still considerate to take out her own handkerchief, reaching out to wipe the Empress Dowager, but Mo Shanghua grabs her wrist and pulls her to stand up. Lin Xiangyin's nervousness could not be suppressed anymore. She clenched her sleeve tightly with her other hand. Her eyes were erratic, but she still strongly supported and angrily scolded, flowers on the street, in front of the emperor's grandmother, what do you want to do? The Empress Dowager was also startled by the sudden action of Mo Shanghua, and she angrily scolded, Princess Yu, what are you going to do in front of the sad family? Mo Shanghua didn't look at the Empress Dowager. She looked at Lin Xiangyin, who was still strong and calm. There's poison in your nails. Just a short sentence, let Lin Xiangyin do. Calm heart suddenly burst, her face almost instantly faded clean, mouth has not said complete words, I don't, you spit. Mo Shanghua directly pressed her wrist on the bed, palms up, and the delicate white powder between her fingers immediately appeared in front of her. The Empress Dowager's face changed greatly. Her flabby skin almost shook up, and she called out, come on, come on. But for a moment, the mother who had just gone rushed in first. Waiting to see the situation in the house, there was no time to ask, so he turned back and yelled, people, didn't you hear the Empress Dowager call someone? As soon as the voice fell, most of the servants in the palace came in a hurry. After all, the Empress Dowager had just recovered from a serious illness. How shocked and angry she was, her voice was not as good as Mammy's full cry. Seeing all the people in the room and the Empress Dowager in front of her, she said calmly, go and ask a doctor to come first. Seeing that no one moved, the Empress Dowager also said with an iron face, listen to the instructions of Princess Yu. The mother immediately called for the imperial doctor, and then came forward on guard, Princess Yu, what are you doing? Mo Shanghua's eyes lightly looked in the past, Princess Ling has hidden poison, intending to murder the Empress Dowager. You should ask what Princess Ling wants to do. The whole hall clean all startled, including that mammy inside of all people all can't believe of looking at Ling imperial concubine. The old face of the Empress Dowager was full of anger. She was so angry that she coughed and trembled. How could she think that her granddaughter-in-law, who was smiling in front of her the other second, was hiding such thoughts? Empress Dowager. The mother rushed to the front of the collapse worried, and the flower on the street also dragged Lin Xiangyin to open the way. The Empress Dowager trembled and pointed to Lin Xiangyin. Her mouth seemed to be blocked by thick phlegm. She couldn't say a word. But for a moment, she turned her eyes and fainted. Naturally, the palace was in chaos again. Emperor Baorong, who was dealing with government affairs in the imperial study, came to the palace with his concubines and princes. Naturally, half of the people in the Thai hospital were also announced to the Empress Dowager and treated her with great care. Baorong Emperor drove all the other concubines back, leaving only Xu Fei at his side. Besides, the princes were waiting together in the outer hall. Lin Xiangyin was caught on the spot by Mo Shanghua. Now she was kneeling in the hall with a pale face. Yan Moli, as her husband, is also extremely unlucky to be involved. He kneels with him and lets the other prince's eyes fall on him. The atmosphere in the hall was very dull. People could not breathe more slowly. They were afraid that the wrong words would make Baorong Emperor angry. After waiting for 2 hours, near noon, Lu Zheng walked out of the inner hall exhausted and knelt down in front of Baorong Emperor. Tell your majesty that the Empress Dowager is safe now, not poisoned, but angry. Before waiting for Emperor Baorong's temperature, he would answer all the questions he might ask one by one, but the Empress Dowager had just recovered from a serious illness. Now, under such stimulation, her illness has taken a turn for the worse, and she still needs to take care of herself. Baorong Emperor's face was not good. After hearing these words, he raised his hand and dropped his teacup. His chest fluctuated violently. All the princes held their breath and did not dare to speak. Lu Zheng wanted to say more than that. He didn't seem to feel Emperor Baorong's anger. He continued, the powder hidden by Princess Ling has been found out. It's arsenic. Baorong Emperor's face was slightly convulsed with anger. Mo Shanghua and Yan Beiqing look at each other quietly, but what they think is that what Xu Fei said is true. Baorong Emperor used to be a relatively clear emperor, but now he seems to be getting confused with his age. As for Lu Zheng, they are not worried. Baorong Emperor will never touch Lu Zheng. Sure enough, they just changed their mind, and then they saw Xu Fei patting Baorong Emperor's chest. Your Majesty, this matter has nothing to do with Liu Yu doctor after all, please calm down. Baorong Emperor's face relaxed a little. You go down first, I won't be angry with you. Thank you, sir. Lu Zheng spoke softly, got up and stepped down. The imperial doctors in the hall were still dispensing medicine. Baorong Emperor rubbed his forehead and looked at Lin Xiangyin and his wife in Yanbei City kneeling in the hall. With the power of the emperor, his eyes fell down like a jack. Yan Moli felt the pressure of the top of his head. He couldn't lift his head. His lips were tight and his body was particularly tight. Lin Xiangyin's heart is much more fragile. Under the gaze of Baorong Emperor, her body can't help trembling. Only by pressing her lips can her upper and lower teeth not touch each other and make a sound. What a Princess Ling! Who gave you the courage to murder the Empress Dowager? Sitting in a high position, Baorong Emperor gazed coldly at Lin Xiangyin in the hall, and his killing intention was boiling in his eyes. Lin Xiangyin's body trembled violently, her eyes turned red instantly, and she choked and trembled. Chen. Chen is not intentionally, Chen. Originally, she wanted to find a reason, but she could not find a word to prove her innocence. In the face of his wife who has been shaking like chaff sieve, Yan Moli turns a deaf ear to it, and has no consolation. Father Huang, Lin is usually timid, and can never do such bold things. Someone must be instigating behind his back, and ask Father Huang to be aware of it. Although there was no consolation, Lin Xiangyin was comforted, grateful and moved to look at Yan Moli. Yan Moli felt Lin Xiangyin's eyes, but he said colder and colder, "You don't make things clear. Who are you instigated and framed by?" Lin Xiangyin suddenly responded. Her eyes turned around and swept over the flower. She didn't want to say, "Yes, it's the flower on the street." "Yes, that's her." Yan Mo scolds a fool in the dark. Before he has time to open his mouth, the flower on the street has caught a cold glance, and the corner of his lips is full of sarcasm. They all say that the dog jumps over the wall in a hurry. Is the second emperor's sister-in-law in a hurry to find a scapegoat now? Don't forget that I caught you on the spot. Lin Xiangyin bit her lip and looked at her eyes full of hate. Flowers on the street, it's you who have hurt me to the point where I am today. You are the source of all this. Mo Shanghua is defeated by Lin Xiangyin's logic. She turns her head and ignores it. It was her design that allowed Lin Xiangyin to marry Yan Moli, but she also got the happiness she wanted for a period of time. After that, the evil consequences were all due to her evil thoughts. How could she blame others? Lin Xiangyin can't manage many things at all. She seems to have caught the straw and has a certain confidence in her words. Father, this matter is that the stranger encouraged me. Then, she deliberately broke me down in front of the Empress Dowager. It's clear that she wants to take the opportunity to ask for credit and trap me in injustice. Said, she seems to have even convinced themselves in general, crying kowtow, "Father, please make the decision for me, return my innocence." Barong Emperor's face was heavy, and he never opened his mouth, but his eyes glanced at the flowers on the street. Knowing that she couldn't avoid it, Mo Shanghua stood up by herself and bowed slightly. "Tell my father and emperor that my son had a good relationship with the second emperor's sister-in-law, but it was before the second emperor's sister-in-law came out of the cabinet. Yesterday, my sister-in-law and I had a dispute in front of my grandmother. Everyone in her palace can testify. After that, my son went back to the palace. It was not until this morning that I met his sister-in-law outside his grandmother's palace. What's more, I didn't say a word. How can I instigate her? My father and sister-in-law have no basis for their words. They just want to pull others into the water to be punished." Mo Shanghua explained things one by one in an orderly way. Barong Emperor's face, which had sunk down, was completely cold. "Lin, now you still want to frame others. You are really an unforgivable poisonous woman." The idea in the heart is seen through on the spot, and Lin Xiangyin's pretty face is no longer colored, and her body is paralyzed. In desperation, she looked at Yan Moli kneeling on his side, and couldn't help pulling into his sleeve, tears in his eyes and opening, cousin, you saved me, I didn't mean to, I really didn't mean to. I just want to frame up for yesterday's things, I just want to make you happy, in order to make up for the feelings before you and me." Lin Xiangyin was full of bitterness, but she could not express it in her mouth. She only looked at Yan Moli with hope. Mo Shanghua didn't brush her hand, but she didn't look at her. She bowed down. "It's about the royal face. Please take it easy." There was no excuse for her, so she pleaded guilty for her. Lin Xiangyin, a heart, straight fall ice cellar, pull Yan Moli's sleeve of hands slowly loosen. Emperor Baorong snorted coldly, and gave an order directly and coldly. Lin Xiangyin intends to murder the Empress Dowager. She is guilty to heaven. Someone comes to shut her up in the imperial palace and wait for her release. In front of so many princes, the sick Empress Dowager was still lying in the inner hall, so Baorong Emperor could not be biased. Even the powerful Donglinhao family behind Lin Xiangyin is useless. Lin Xiangyin's pale face was filled with deep despair. She was paralyzed on the ground and even forgot Shane. No matter how desperate she was, Yan Moli pulled her to kneel down and said, "Thank you, Father Huang Longen." Lin Xiangyin kowtowed mechanically. Then, a bodyguard came forward and escorted her to the Zongrenfu. After Baorong Emperor ordered, he went to the inner hall with Xu Fei to visit. He didn't have time to see her for a second. In this way, Lin Xiangyin dared to take a look at Yan Moli, opened her mouth and wanted to say something. 1,000 words rolled into her throat, but she seemed to be caught in a net. Finally, she couldn't say a word. I thought that all her tears had been exhausted. At this time, she could not help but look at Yen Moli with tears streaming down her face. "Cousin, please take care of me. I'll be back soon. Don't worry." With such a look on her face, Yen Moli didn't even give any money to Yu Guang. He went directly past her and entered the inner hall. His face was cold. Lin Xiangyin thought that even if he fell to such a situation, Yen Moli still had her in his heart and would worry about her. Never thought that he was so unkind. All of a sudden, her whole heart seemed to be crushed and in pain. The pain of losing status and being so guilty is less than 1 in 10,000 at this time. Looking at Lin Xiangyin, who was taken away in despair, and Yen Moli, who had no expression on his face, a very strange feeling surged up in his heart. He couldn't help turning his eyes to Yen Beicheng. Yen Bei layer along her just vision to turn a circle, the heart suddenly feel bad, busy clenched her hands. "Princess, let's go in to see the Empress Dowager." Strange flowers in the eyes did not disappear, but also did not ask, nodded, and did not say much. Yen Xinchuan's eyes looked at the empty situation in the hall, pursed his lips and turned into the inner room. The smell of medicine in the inner hall was several times stronger than before. When Feng entered the hall, the flowers on the street could not help frowning. The Empress Dowager on the bed has not woken up yet. Her old face seems to have a few more wrinkles. She looks more and more haggard and old. Baorong Emperor sat in front of the collapse and looked down at the Empress Dowager on the bed. He couldn't see any emotion in his eyes, but his white hair was dazzling. "I don't know how long Baorong Emperor can survive like this. Just thinking, Bento has come true." Only to see, just now also launched anger, full of gas. Baorong Emperor, unexpectedly no sign of straight toward the ground, fell down. Thanks to Yen Beicheng's quick eyes and quick hands, he stepped forward and held Baorong Emperor, so that he would not fall down. He cried out, "Hurry up, pass on the imperial doctor." Everyone in the room was completely flustered, and everyone was in a panic. In just 1 hour, the Empress Dowager fell ill again, and the news that Baorong Emperor also fell ill spread all over the palace. Some important officials who knew the inside story all entered the palace at this time, and the Marquis was waiting outside the palace. At that time, Baorong Emperor was still in a coma. All the princes were blocked outside the hall, and Lu Zheng and other imperial doctors were the first to treat Baorong Emperor in the hall. No one is in charge of the palace, and Xu Fei has no backbone in her heart. "Your Majesty and the Empress Dowager have fallen ill one after another. There is no one in charge of the palace. If you want to come here, we'd better ask the Empress to come out." Although Li Fei and others are upset, they have no second words when they mention the Queen. In fact, not only Xu Fei, but also the ministers outside the hall. It's just that they can't see the situation inside the hall and can't speak. At this time, Hua, who was in the inner hall, had a chance to speak and said, "Your Majesty said that she wanted to ban the Empress for half a year. All the affairs in the 6 palaces should be handled by the Empress. How can she be regarded as a person without the responsibility? Say, then direct Hang Mao to make respectful state, still ask Shu Imperial Concubine Empress to play spirit, preside over overall situation." Words come out, but no one agrees. Even Xu Fei was full of fear, holding the hand of the flower on the street, and said, "Princess Yu, the Queen is the one who is right. Our palace is just a little concubine, so we can't be the winner. Empress Lin has been suffocating for such a long time. If she comes out at this time, how can she make everyone have a good life? If so, the first chance will be in the hands of Empress Lin and Yen Moli. Perhaps, whether Baorongdi can wake up will become an unknown. In this way, we can't ask Queen Lin to come out. Think of here." Mo Shanghua clenched Xu Fei's hand, eyes burning stare at her. "Xu Fei Nyang Nyang, Your Majesty's order does not change, is really want to ask the Queen Nyang to come out, also want to wait for Your Majesty to wake up again." Xu Fei seems to understand something from the eyes of flowers on the street. She calms down a little, but she still can't answer. Unexpectedly, as soon as their words came down, the eunuch's report outside the door rang. "Here comes the Queen." Outside the hall, the voice of the prince's greetings came out faintly. The flower on the street has turned pale and sneers in my heart. It seems that Empress Lin must have great influence in the palace, otherwise she would not have got the news so soon. She's also a lady. She's too soft. She has also been in the palace for many years. If she has any ambition, she can directly order people to block the news and strictly guard it. Then there will never be Empress Lin's day today. As soon as the thought in her heart fell, Xu Fei's face changed again. Suddenly she felt that she had just risen, and her mind was guilty. She stepped forward and went out to meet the queen. Seeing this, all the concubines had to get up together to greet each other. Mo Shanghua looks at the back of all the concubines. An idea in her heart suddenly flashes. Instead of following her, she quietly enters the emperor's bedroom. At this time is a special situation, there are guards outside the bedroom palace. As soon as they see flowers coming from the street, they immediately stop the way. Mo Shanghua stood upright and looked coldly at the guard. Didn't you hear that the queen arrived? My princess is the empress who came to see your majesty's condition first. The sleeping hall where the emperor lived was rather gorgeous, and the inner hall and the sleeping hall were all self-contained. The two bodyguards could only vaguely hear the voices of a few women, but they could not see who was speaking. However, the queen could hear clearly when she arrived. She looked at each other and let go. The flower on the street was carried into the bedroom as usual, and there was no panic on her face. See Empress, Empress thousands of years. They are still thinking about how to invite the queen's important ministers and the princes to attend the ceremony together. Free flat. Empress Lin dressed in bright yellow palace clothes and combed her hair meticulously. She was very dignified and elegant. Although the palace is forbidden, I heard about the great changes in the palace. I have to ask you for your understanding. Empress of a country, so put face, ministers naturally have nothing to say. Liu Bohan, as a prime minister and the head of 100 officials, said, the empress, in order to keep the court in order, has to show up in the forbidden foot, and take the responsibility of disobeying the emperor's orders. This is the great righteousness, and the officials can only admire it. The Eastern Marquis is white-headed and white-haired, and he is still full of zhongqi. I can only admire and move him, and no one dares to say more. The other ministers agreed. Xu Fei's temperament is soft. Yan Beiqing had expected such a result for a long time. She was not half surprised. She just stood up and didn't say a word. Yan Sinchuan also did not say a word. Yan Imoli had been gloomy for a day, and he just got better at this time. He had a chance to win and was eager to try. Xu Fei and others came out at this time. When they saw Empress Lin, they bowed to salute directly. Concubines and concubines have seen Empress. In front of all the ministers, Empress Lin would not attack naturally. She was very virtuous and went forward to help her up one by one. These days when our palace is not here, you have worked hard to take care of your mother and your majesty. You don't have to be polite. Xu Fei, Li Fei and others are all concubines who have been immersed in the palace for several years. Their acting skills are first class. Seeing the empress like this, they all cooperate with each other. It is the duty of concubines and concubines to take care of the empress dowager. It's the empress's sincere heart to rush here at the risk of the world's great injustice. I feel inferior to her. The queen is the most virtuous and considerate person. Yan Beiqing was not interested in listening to their hypocrisy. He glanced at the crowd with quick eyes. He didn't see the flower on the street. His eyes flashed slightly. Did she have another plot? Empress Lin exchanged greetings with her concubines, but she didn't embarrass her in public. She praised her a little more. She glanced at the crowd and frowned. Where is Princess Ling and Princess Yu? As a daughter-in-law, how can I not be here at this time? Empress Lin thought so in her heart, but she didn't know that Lin Xiangyin was already in the mansion. Yan Moli just sent someone to take her out, but in the future, he would have to tell the Empress Dowager about Lin Xiangyin's poisoning. Otherwise, Empress Lin must vomit a mouthful of old blood on the spot. However, it is not too much to say that such a big thing is a royal scandal. How dare people mention it in front of their ministers? For a moment, no one dared to speak. But how could Princess Yu not be here? A few people noticed here, have shown doubts. Xu Fei also found the flower is not in the heart, although doubt, but did not speak. Good Li Fei and others see many ministers here, also all shut up. Mother. When everyone was afraid to explain, Yan Beiqing suddenly said, "It's not suitable to talk about Heir Huang's sister-in-law right now. I don't want to let Heir Huang tell you later." Yan Mo Li's face turned black. He glanced at him coldly and said, "Brother Wu Huang might as well care about her princess. Didn't she just go in with you ladies?" Empress Lin's heart suddenly jumps. She only feels that many things are in great change, so big that she can't control them. Seeing this, Xu Fei hurriedly came forward and said, "Now I don't know what the doctors are doing. The Empress might as well go in and have a look with her concubines." Finally, she got to the point. Empress Lin temporarily lowered her confusion and nodded slightly. Seeing that Mo Shanghua had not yet appeared, Yan Beiqing continued to procrastinate and said, "Now you imperial doctors are still treating. If we go in so rashly, I'm afraid it will disturb the diagnosis and treatment of imperial doctors." Yan Xinchuan observed for a long time, but also gently echoed, "What the fifth brother said is very true. If it bothers the imperial doctor, I'm afraid it's not good for him." The two princes both said that they were right. Empress Lin was about to adopt it, but Yan Emoli said coldly, "Mother doesn't see her father for many days, so it doesn't matter if fewer people stay far away and go in to have a look." Yan Beiqing raised his eyebrows, and his lips spilled a touch of coldness. Brother Huang's words are so light, such as European style. They really disturb my father. Can you bear it? Yan Moli didn't expect that Yanbei City would fight against each other directly. He couldn't help choking and his face sank. Seeing this, Yan Xinchuan stepped forward and stood in the middle of the two men. His face was as warm as jade. He was slightly embarrassed. "Two brothers, my father is still ill, so we must not start a dispute at this time. If there is a quarrel at this time, it will surely bring a bitter criticism to both of them." Yan Emoli coldly glanced at Yan Beiqing, turned his head and didn't speak. Yanbei City, half of the handsome half of the blood-like demonic face is not very volatile, but gently turned his head, toward the Empress Lin slightly bowed his head, "My son lost his word." There are two still neutral to see the move of Yan Beiqing, secretly nodded. "Your Majesty is awake, Your Majesty is awake." At this time, Lu Weng suddenly came out from the inside and reported to you with a happy face. At present, people are not afraid of any taboo, a rush to visit. Led by Empress Lin, Yan Moli followed Empress Lin, Yan Beiqing and the third prince of Yan Xinchuan also followed. As for Xu Fei and others, they could only be far behind. Those who are pushed to the last place are the most important ministers in the court. As soon as they entered, they were surprised by the scene. "Just now I was still discussing the missing flower, sitting in Baorong Emperor's bedroom." "Yes, sitting in the bedroom." Lu Zheng is standing on her side, holding a prescription in his hand, drooping his eyes and saying something to her. The rest of the doctors gathered on the other side. And Baorong Emperor has woken up, and now he can sit up. Apart from looking a little tired, there is nothing wrong with him, and his spirit is okay. Empress Lin and Yan Moli both have the same idea. They are both frightened and disappointed. Yan Xinchuan appeared sincere. Facing his beloved father, he was worried, "Father, are you okay?" "But what's wrong?" Yan North City and Yan Emoli also surrounded. Yan North City is actually a lot, went to Mo Shanghua's side and asked in a low voice, "How can you be here? How is your father's body?" Whether the former is serious concern, and whether the latter is sincere or not, it is not known. Empress Lin responded quickly and walked quickly to the bed. "Your Majesty, I'm relieved to see you wake up." As soon as he finished his sentence, he knelt down and said, "Your Majesty, I'm worried about your comfort, and I'm afraid that some villains will dare to make trouble during this period. I'll go out of the ban myself. I hope your Majesty will forgive me." After Empress Lin, there was a marquis in the east, and he was wearing the hat of risking the world's great injustice. Emperor Baorong could not say anything, but just waved his hand and said, "I don't blame you." Behind the Emperor Lin, there was a deep expression of gratitude. He got up to squeeze Xu Fei and others away and sat down beside the dragon cave. "Your Majesty, how do you feel now?" "It's all my concubines. As a daughter-in-law, I can't serve my mother." "You're tired these days." There was a flash of impatience in Emperor Baorong's eyes, and he waved his hand casually. "No need. This is what I should do. The queen can relax." After a pause, his eyes turned around in the room, and his eyebrows and eyes were slightly irritable. "I'm just tired these days. Do you think I'm going to die in such a big battle?" All the people knelt down and did not dare to shout. "Get up." Looking at this scene, Emperor Baorong was even more upset. He glanced over the upright Mo Shanghua who was kneeling in the crowd and said, "I'm only so tired this time, but thanks to Princess Yu's medical treatment, I was able to get out of danger and get a reward." The flowers on the street drooped slightly, but they were not surprised. "My son, thank you for your reward." They all got up together, and Baorong Emperor rubbed his eyebrows a little impatiently. "All back. My concubine is leaving." Seeing that Baorong Emperor obviously didn't like so many people around him, they didn't dare to stay there, so they stepped down. Out of the hall, Empress Lin deliberately slowed down her steps and glanced at the flowers on the street. Originally, the palace was still thinking about where you went. Originally, she was summoned by Her Majesty and treated for Her Majesty in person. The flower on the street looked down and kept good palace rules. When I reported back to my mother, my son didn't get summoned by my father. It was just that the situation was critical and my son had to do it. After a pause, he added, "Your Majesty has forgiven my son's rashness." Queen Lin could not pick out any mistakes. However, now that everyone is gone, Empress Lin doesn't want to continue to disguise. All Her Majesty is released. "It's a fluke that you saved Your Majesty this time. If you are so bold in the future, you have to bear any consequences." Just came out and wanted to take her leeway. Mo Shanghua's heart is full of sneer. Yan Beicheng is also full of cold. Pull Mo Shanghua behind him, deep and dense with endless dark eyes straight to the Queen of Shanglin. The princess's medical skill is superb. Even the emperor's grandmother almost poisoned is saved by the princess. Who dares to question her medical skill? My mother is really worried. When Empress Lin choked, Yan Emoli came forward and said with no smile, "The 5 younger brothers and sisters are naturally powerful. Now I'm afraid they're even with the 5 younger brothers." Is this an insinuation that King Yu is eating soft food? Qinya, who is standing behind, swallows her saliva silently. It's really a master's trick. It's fatal. Regardless, if you want to talk about kung fu, Mo Shanghua has never lost anyone. She stood out from behind Yanbei City, with a faint smile on her lips. Since ancient times, there has been a saying that husband and wife are one. No matter the scenery or the downfall, the prince naturally wants to be with me, but I don't know whether the second emperor's sister-in-law will feel lonely and scared when she is alone in the patriarchal mansion. Then he turned his head and looked at Yan Beicheng. "Lord, don't we go to see Er Huang's sister-in-law later?" Yan Beicheng, a face touched to hold the hand of Mo Shanghua. "The princess is affectionate and righteous, moved by her husband's heart, as you wish." The husband and wife sing a song and make peace, both explicitly and secretly demote Yan Moli to the dust. It's just cold weather. Yan Moli seems to have entered winter ahead of time. He seems to be completely covered by ice. It's not too much to say that the ground is frozen for 3 feet. Mo Shanghua and Yan Beicheng were born together. They just didn't go. They wanted to stand here and disgust him with love. Yan Moli, a big man, was not as clever as Mo Shanghua. He held back his anger and saluted Empress Lin. "Empress Mother, my son will go to Cunning Palace to wait for you." "My son will leave." Empress Lin nodded, and her face was a little ugly. "There are still palace affairs to deal with in our palace. Please help yourself." Mo Hua Yan, North City of Humble Salute, send mother. When Empress Lin walked away, she could not help but smile at each other. It's not only happy for the couple to win the battle together, but also for the tacit understanding of the couple. Such feelings are really mysterious and strange. In the cunning palace, when the people were dismissed and Baorong Emperor was not here, Empress Lin was the one who could not agree. At the thought of the way that Mo Shanghua and Yan Beicheng just looked at each other and laughed at each other, she was very angry. She raised her hand and dropped a pair of tea cups. The tea splashed and the tiles fell all over the floor. Yan Emoli lifted the hem and knelt down straightly. My son is useless. Please punish me. Empress Lin was very beautiful when she was young, and she is still charming when she is now. She has been a queen for many years, which makes her more dignified and dignified. Now she is angry, and she has a lot of momentum. Our palace can't help you for a while. Now a little princess you has climbed to the top of our palace. And what about Eners? Why did Mo Shi become a hero who saved the Empress Dowager? At the thought of such things, Yan Moli was also very upset. His whole face was tense and silent for a long time. He couldn't talk about the shame of stealing chicken. When Empress Lin saw that he didn't speak, a nameless fire sprang up again and said harshly, Yan Moli, when did you become so timid that you could be scared by a few words? Yan Mo tightly clenched his hands on his side. After a moment, he loosened his tight lips and slowly said, It's my son's 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 sons. What? Empress Lin suddenly got up, and her eyes were full of disbelief. Did Ener poison the Empress Dowager? She's out of her mind. Yan Mo lowered his head and said in a cold voice, I can't guess what the princess thought. Now, she has been sent to the imperial palace by her father. After a pause, his eyes showed a strong sense of evil. Just now in the palace, my father did not look at my son's minister again. I think my son's minister has completely lost his sacred heart. Perhaps, even Yan Beicheng's position in his father's heart is not as good now. The shock on the back of Emperor Lin was immediately replaced by the fury. This Ener, the palace used to ask you to marry her because she was not very intelligent and easy to control. I didn't expect that she was so stupid that she made you come here. Please take your body seriously, don't be angry. In front of Empress Lin, Yan Moli is a filial son. However, no amount of consolation could change the fact that he had been completely rejected by Emperor Baorong. At the thought of this, Empress Lin felt that her chest was straight and stuffy, as if she had a breath blocking her chest. She pressed her chest with one hand and sat back on the phoenix chair. Her sharp voice lowered, What does your uncle say now? My grandfather and uncle are also very anxious, but the situation of my father is not suitable to be mentioned at this time. We can only discuss it in tomorrow's court. Mention this matter. Yan Emoli eyebrow head tightly again. It's urgent. I'm afraid I haven't figured out the whole story yet. I just said a few words with Yan Moli outside Baorong Emperor's bedroom. Ener is your princess in any case. You must show yourself in front of your grandfather. Don't be too cold. Besides, it's important to avoid suspicion now, so you don't have to go to Zhongrenfu. Empress Lin had already thought about it in her heart. She covered her chest and looked a little tired. It's a matter of great importance. I'm afraid it can't end well. Please remind your grandfather that if he can't help him, he can't ask for help. These things Yan Mo Li in the heart also early have thought. Smell speech tiny nod, son minister no. Words fall, his mind a turn, suddenly said, Mother, son minister always feel father's condition is not as simple as on the surface. Empress Lin raised her eyes, What do you mean? I just hope my mother can inquire about it. Yan Mo Li didn't speak up, but the suspicion in his eyes couldn't hide from Empress Lin. Empress Lin nodded thoughtfully. The palace has its own discretion. Baorong Emperor's body has been hollowed out for a long time. Now, the disease seems to be okay, but in fact it is a loss. Mo Shanghua and Yan Beicheng sit opposite each other and tell what they know one by one. When Emperor Baorong was still in a coma, Empress Lin suddenly came. She was afraid that the situation would be grasped by Empress Lin, so she had to venture in. Thanks to Lu Zhang's help, she was able to treat Emperor Baorong smoothly. Mo Shanghua's eyes sank down, and he looked at Yan Beicheng in a faint way. As for his fainting today, it's a precursor. If it's not the right time, I won't treat him. If it is, I'm afraid he'll wake up a few hours in the evening. Yan Beicheng had expected it in his heart, but he was not surprised. He just gently grasped the flowers on the street. I have been prepared in my heart, but I can't bear you working so hard for me. The willow eyebrows on the street gently stir up, full face relaxed laugh. Nature is to blame you. If you were not forced to marry me, I naturally will not be so tired. To blame can only blame you. Yanbei City took her tightly, thin lips close to her ear. Lo Wei, if I can foretell, I will marry you earlier. In this way, you will be free from those torments in the future. Mo Shanghua pushed him away a little and gave him an angry look. It's always out of shape. I've seen it. We still have 3 months at most. What about the Empress Dowager? Yen North City Light Point Jaw, express oneself no, a pair of phoenix eyes inside, surging endless dark. The smile on the flower's face on the street also converged, and the Empress Dowager said, the Empress Dowager won't have a big event for the time being, but she has to stay in bed all the year round. Yen North City suddenly clenched the book of Mo Shanghua. Mao Guangyu, you looking at her, want to start? Mo Shanghua held her hand tightly and said softly, I will always be with you. Yan Beicheng said nothing, but there was a touch of moving color in his eyes. Lord, here comes Dr. Lu. At this time, Maureen's voice suddenly sounded outside the room. Yan Beicheng opened the door and said, please come in. Lord, Princess. Lu Zenglu's bending over was regarded as a gift. Yan also nodded in response, pointing to the seat beside the round table in front of him, sit down. Lu Zheng was not constrained either. He said thanks and sat down. He was very conscious, just sitting opposite them, a few feet away from the stranger. Yan Beicheng was very satisfied with his deliberate action. He tilted his lips slightly and said, is there any movement in the palace? Lu Zheng nodded slightly, and the gentle smile from the corner of his lips temporarily subsided. The Empress summoned me and asked about your Majesty's illness. After a pause, he added, I've told the Queen as you said. I think the secret agent in the palace will send the secret letter soon. Well, I know. Knowing what he wanted, Yan Beicheng didn't ask any more, can the pill be configured with a new one? Lu Zheng took out a porcelain vase from his sleeve and put it on the table. I have reduced the dosage according to your order. But the Emperor's health is getting worse now, and his own feeling is always stronger than others. I'm afraid he will increase the number of pills practiced by those warlocks. It's his own death. You don't have to control it. Yan Beicheng's thin lips pulled out a sneer, and his eyes were full of mockery. Baorong Emperor was Yan Beicheng's biological father. Naturally, Lu Zheng didn't have much to say. Besides, they had already communicated with each other. As a result, when he had finished his account, he stood up and said, now your Majesty has been summoning me from time to time. If I can't leave for too long, I will leave first. Wait. Mo Shanghua suddenly stood up, red lips pulled out a touch of shallow radiance. Today's things have not yet had time to thank you, another day must be a good life to thank you. Thank you for your kindness. I'm sure I won't be brushing her at that time. Lu Zhengxian had some friendship with Mo Shanghua and Yuzhou, and he was not affectable at the moment. Waiting for Lu Zheng to leave, the flower on the street could not help but ask in a soft voice, why do you want to reduce the weight of that medicine? Yan Beicheng's eyes flashed slightly, his thin lips pursed lightly, and he said as if nothing had happened, I'm just afraid that he will be greedy for a while, eat too much, and die too soon. But Yan Beicheng saw a different look in his eyes. In fact, after all, he did not want to kill his father himself. Even if Baorong Emperor was ruthless and indifferent again, there was still a bit of father-son feeling in Yan Beicheng's heart. Just, he is not willing to admit this kind of softness in his heart all the time. Mo Shanghua naturally won't expose, just silently leaning on his shoulder. Yan Beiqing took his shoulder tightly and didn't open his mouth. The Empress Dowager's condition is exactly what Mo Shanghua said. Although she has no worries about her life, she has to stay in bed for at least half a year. And could not be stimulated. Even Baorong Emperor fainted. No one dared to tell the Empress Dowager. As for Baorong Emperor, although he was in good health, he didn't know what kind of mind he had, so he stayed away from court for 3 days and didn't go to court for 3 days. Lin Xiangyin is still locked up in the patriarchal mansion. The Marquis in the east can't sit down for a while. He went to see Baorong Emperor several times in private, but Baorong Emperor didn't see him. Lin Xiangyin's disposal has not been decided, so he has been locked up in the patriarchal mansion. At that time, Lin Xiangyin was sitting against the wall in the cell of the patriarchal mansion. Zhongrenfu was the place where the emperor's relatives and relatives were imprisoned, and Lin Xiangyin was able to live in a relatively clean cell. Even so, the boundless fear of silence still kept her awake at night, but she lost weight in 3 days. She shrank in the corner of the wall, her hands clasping her knees tightly, just like a little girl injured. The sound of the iron lock in the cell suddenly came, and the chain that affected the cell door also rang. Then there was the voice of the prison head, "Please." Lin Xiangyin raised her head slowly, but what she saw was not the face she was thinking about, but the face she hated. "Mo Shanghua, you don't forget to come to see my joke at such a time." Lin Xiangyin's vision suddenly cooled down, and she couldn't help saying, "My father and brother will help me out. After I go out, I will not let you go." The stranger glanced over her messy bun and looked around the cell, but sighed. "Do you remember Lu Qianqian? The cell she used to live in is much more shabby than you. Even the prison clothes are extremely dirty." At the thought of Lu Qianqian, Lin Xiangyin's face turned white and she was still calm. "What do you want to tell me about her?" "I have nothing to fear from her own death." Mo Shanghua himself picked a clean bench to sit down and said, "I just sigh that you and she both love Yan Moli deeply, and the way back to the end is the same." Lu Qianqian forced to bite her teeth and lips, and her eyes showed a little sadness. "What do you mean by this?" "I tell you that I am different from that woman. She has the cheek to stick it up. My cousin has no pity for her. I'm different. I've known my cousin since childhood. We are childhood friends, nothing can compare with each other." Looking at Lin Xiangyin, who is still under illusion, Mo Shanghua mercilessly exposes her dream. "Did he come to see you? Have you ever excused yourself in front of your father?" Lin Xiangyin held her hands tightly together, and tears suddenly fell down her eyes. She couldn't answer the flowers in the street. Because of these, all did not, even Yan Moli did not even look at her. Even her aunt, who used to love her very much, just sent a female official to visit her. Father can't come in person, but Dongguanhao, who loves her most, has come to see her. These are her relatives. No one else has visited her except her relatives. Thinking of this, Lin Xiangyin was more and more sad, not only in her eyes, but also in her eyes. Her face was full of tears. "Lin Xiangyin, can't you see clearly? Yan Moli is just using you. He doesn't love you at all." Mo Shanghua finally said the purpose of this trip. Her voice was cold and seemed to be redeeming. "Not only Yan Moli, but also the queen, she just wanted to make use of you. All this was to consolidate the status of their mother and son and to fight for the throne." "Your bullshit." Lin Xiangyin raised a pair of red eyes and stared at the flowers on the street viciously. "All this is caused by you. If it wasn't for you, how could my cousin do this to me, and how could I take risks in order to win back my cousin's heart?" Mo Shanghua is calm, directly and simply admitted, "Yes, there is my reason in it, so I'm wrong that I shouldn't let you marry Yan Moli as soon as possible, but you ask yourself, even if you don't have me, you won't marry Yan Moli?" Lin Xiangyin was silent, biting her lip without opening her mouth, and her tears were still surging wildly. Even if there is no Mo Shanghua, she will try to marry Yan Moli. In fact, it's all your evil thoughts. Looking at such a miserable Lin Xiangyin, there is a trace of pity in her eyes. Lu Qianqian's identity is not as simple as you think. She has been with Yen Moli since she was a child. In the end, isn't Yen Moli as soft as before? Lin Xiangyin's eyes widened in surprise. What do you say? Mo Shanghua mercilessly exposes the last illusion in Lin Xiangyin's heart. Lin Xiangyin, you should wake up. If you think about it, I can help you out. This is her last chance. Lin Xiangyin was silent again, biting her lips tightly, and didn't speak for a long time. Mo Shanghua didn't urge her, so she sat quietly on the bench, waiting for Lin Xiangyin's answer. Lin Xiangyin's heart seemed to be tangled for a long time. Finally, she turned her head and looked at the flowers on the street. Her eyes were determined as never before. This is what I did. I'm Princess Ling. I can't escape. Mo Shanghua, you're right. I have evil thoughts in my heart, but I'm so stupid. What I've suffered now is what I should bear. After staring at Lin Xiangyin's face for a while, Mo Shanghua saw that she was calm, so she didn't say more. Well, since it's your choice, I won't disturb her. Then she stood up and turned away. Lin Xiangyin stares at the prison door, which is tightly locked, and leaves with the flowers on the street. The corners of her lips are curved. She looks like a smile rather than a smile, and she looks like a cry rather than a cry. It's ugly and weird. She was suddenly envious of the flowers. Why can she live so clearly? Unlike herself, she is so confused. Simply, the way she looks now has also affected Yen Moli. It can be regarded as his compensation for her. Inquired about Baorong Emperor's present physical condition, Empress Lin summoned Yen Moli in the night and told him this matter solemnly. After leaving the palace, Yen Moli quickly called all the counselors and plotted until midnight. The next morning, Emperor Baorong went to court a little tired. The Eastern Marquis couldn't bear that Lin Xiangyin had been playing again in the Zhongrenfu. Unexpectedly, he was reprimanded by Emperor Baorong and rejected the memorial. At the request of Donglinhao, several ministers who wanted to help intercede immediately shut up when they saw the situation. No one dared to say more. The court hall was silent for a moment, and no one dared to play on it at this time, which made Baorong Emperor unhappy. This kind of opportunity may be unfavorable to others, but it is the best opportunity for Yen Moli. If I tell my father and emperor, my son and minister will play this part. He stepped out of the line and spoke in a loud voice. Baorong Emperor didn't look at Yen Mo, but he said impatiently, if you want to intercede for Princess Ling, you don't have to. This matter is very important. I will never forgive you. Yen Moli's side of the lips slowly recalled, father, son minister to play, you king bullying king, dereliction of duty, connivance subordinate malicious wounding, bullying the people. As the words fell, General Chen, who was in charge of nearly half of the imperial city's guards, stood up and said, tell your majesty, yesterday evening, more than a dozen soldiers suddenly entered the city. They ate and drank in the city, and even bullied the people with their own power. They drank and ate meat but didn't give them money. Then they had a dispute and killed 2 people. Now the whole capital is full of complaints. Yen Mo turned his eyes and looked at Jing Zhaoyin standing in the crowd again. Now the common people have come to Jing Zhaoyin's place, and now there are complaints everywhere, and people's complaints are everywhere. Although Yen Beicheng is the prince, this matter is very important, so Jing Zhaoyin, who has been named, naturally dares not to say nothing. He quickly stepped out of the room for fear that he would be accused of being a dead man. He said, I tell your majesty, those soldiers have been found out. They are the personal guards under His Highness King Yu, but they are extremely arrogant. I haven't had time to deal with them. The people are very excited. When Wei Chen left the house this morning, even the sedan chair was almost lifted, son of a bitch. Baorong Emperor was very irritable recently. When he heard the words, he fell down and said, the kingdom of God has always attached great importance to the people. Don't you know that water can carry a boat and overturn it? How dare you indulge your subordinates like this? These words, naturally speaking to Yen Beicheng. Yen Beicheng flashed across his eyes, but he knelt down like a frightened deer. Father, I don't know about it. You don't know the people under your hand? If not for your usual indulgence, How dare they? How dare you even kill the common people? You don't pay attention to the military discipline and the law of our country. I think they can do whatever they want with the support of King Yu. It's okay if it doesn't happen, but if it happens, it's doomed that it can't be done well. Therefore, Emperor Baorong was very angry. If this matter is not handled properly, even he, the emperor, will be resented by the common people. He only says that the imperial power is supreme and that human life is like grass. Yan Sichuan brow tip tiny ring, a pair of when run if jade's eye inside delimit a little doubt, toward Yan North City looked in the past. Yan Beiqing didn't look at him. He just knelt down on the ground and said, I dare not. Yan Sichuan saw this, flashed a bit strange in the heart, lips light pursed, did not speak. He had an agreement with Yan Beiqing. If it wasn't for the last moment, he couldn't do it rashly. Otherwise, he would only scare the snake. Just at this time, a bodyguard suddenly rushed into the hall and said, Report. More than a dozen people from outside the city have made trouble in the yamen in the city and have quarreled with the people. Now more than 50 people have made a lot of trouble and smashed the yamen. So, is that the opposite? The faces of all the courtiers were different. At this time, the Eastern Marquis stood up and said in a deep voice, Your Majesty, this matter is not easy to end now. Please approve the imperial army and go to. As soon as the words were heard, another imperial guard came into the hall and said, Report. There are more than 100 soldiers forced into the city outside the city. They have met with the guards. The number of people making trouble in the city also increased suddenly. Reverse, reverse. Emperor Baorong suddenly got up, his face was blue, and his forehead was blue. Yan Beiqing, are you going to enter the palace? General Chen, I order you to take people there as soon as possible. Yes, General Chen took orders with his fist in his arms. He quickly passed a touch of pride in his eyes. Father and Emperor, my son and minister are willing to go with General Chen. Yan Moli also came forward with his fist in his arms. This matter is very important. You must have the prince, the son minister, to come forward in person to suppress this matter. Yan Sichuan felt a little wrong in his heart, and came forward, My father, my son is willing to go. Baorong Emperor naturally has no reason not to agree, but his eyes on Yan Sichuan Qingruan's face slightly coagulated. You are not in good health, this matter can't go, it's up to Ling Wang. I'll take orders. Without waiting for Yan Sichuan to refute one or two, Yan Mo responded with a loud voice and turned away. King Yu. Emperor Baorong looked at Yan Beiqing with deep eyes, and his voice was filled with anger. You go back to the palace now. You can't go out of the palace until you find out. I will send someone to guard it. Yan Sichuan hung his head. He couldn't see anything in his eyes. He only spoke in a slightly low voice, yes. As the voice fell, Emperor Baorong waved his hand. Naturally, 2 imperial guards came forward and followed Yan Beiqing to the court. Retreat. Mo Shanghua looks at Yan Beiqing, who has been sent in by 2 imperial guards. Her face is still calm, and she seems not to panic at all. Qinya in the back but already anxious flustered God, urgent carrying skirt and want to go to the mansion to have a look. However, she just stepped to the threshold, and the 2 imperial guards directly put their swords in front of her chest. Your Majesty has an order, no one in the upper and lower parts of King Yu's house can go out of the house. Qinya swallowed the saliva, carefully stepped back to the house, want to cry no tears of looking at Mo Shanghua Yan North City. Princess, what's the matter in the end? Mo Shanghua looks at Yan Beiqing. Although he looks dejected, his eyes are still shining and full of strategy. Close the door. The flowers on the street light mouth, a beautiful cheek above half of the waves do not rise. Yan North City and she look at each other, not anxious not slow to take her hand toward the house. Qinya looks at the couple who are not anxious and impatient after being sealed off. She is full of amazement. Then she reacts and closes her mouth and follows them. The look of the 2 masters had already been predicted. She really forgot that the princess of their family was very intelligent. There was nothing she could not expect. She had better not say more to avoid being heard by someone who had a heart. Stay in the house, Yanbei City just pull Mo Shanghua, will today's situation one by one with Mo Shanghua listen. However, the appearance of fear in the temple had disappeared. Instead, he had a light face and no fear. It seemed that everything was in his hands. I thought Yan Moli would endure for some time. I didn't expect that he would be unable to sit so soon. There was a deep irony in the deep pupil of Yanbei City. Last night, my father summoned Yan Sichuan alone. He was afraid that if he was slower, the throne would fall into the hands of others. Unfortunately, what he has done will become a big dream in the end. The flowers on the street utter words coldly, and there is no emotion in the eyes of Qingling. Yan Sichuan's carriage was on the street, and he could hear the noise outside the sedan chair clearly. In the past, the streets were also full of the same life, but they were all peddlers and people living and working in peace and contentment. Today, there is no hawker in the street who dares to set up a stall anymore. Instead, a group of imperial guards are patrolling the street in a uniform way, and they are searching the streets wantonly. It's said that the mobs have been in the street, and even Yan Sichuan's carriage has been strictly guarded to prevent the mobs from coming. It's just that he always finds it strange. Yan Sichuan frowned slightly and thought for a long time, then suddenly raised his voice and said, "Go to Yuangfu. Your Highness, King Yu's mansion is under the strict supervision of your Majesty now. No one can go out, no one can go." Outside the carriage, the voice of the boy who was close to him was very worried. "If it doesn't matter, I'll go to King Yu's house." Yan Sichuan, who has always been gentle, is particularly stubborn at this time. His warm voice is mixed with irresistible power. "Yes." Outside the door, the boy responded helplessly, and ordered the coachman to change the way to the house of King Yu. Today, Yan Moli is just a mob of less than 100 people. It is clear that he only needs to send 100 people to live in, but he has mobilized 300 imperial guards to encircle the whole government. Among the people, many of them are weak at the sight of the battle, and more than 100 people are just coming to see the excitement and are surrounded by them. Some people in the crowd cried out, "Brothers, the government is forcing the people to revolt. They are going to kill us all, we can't wait to die, fight with them. Both vertical and horizontal are dead. It's clear that good people are not allowed to live in this world. They have to fight." A large number of people were incited, and now they were all red in front of their eyes, copying all kinds of tools. At this time, outside the city, in the pro-guard camp of Yanbei City, some people also stood up to incite. "You guys, did you just see the Imperial Guards? According to the news just received in the city is in chaos. Our Lord has been imprisoned by the Dog Emperor. The Lord treats us well. How can we wait to die? We must go into the city to rescue the Lord. Kill." When Yan Sichuan arrived at Yan Beicheng's residence, he was stopped by the guards in charge of guarding. "Your Majesty has an order. No one is allowed to go in and out of King Yu's residence. Please don't embarrass him." Yan Sichuan's warm eyebrows were dyed a little fierce, and all the gentleness in his voice disappeared. "Since you know the identity of this hall, don't you know that my father always valued me? This time I came here, I was also instructed by my father. Oracles are nothing but empty words. How can we believe them without the people around Baorong? Your Highness, don't worry about it." The leading bodyguard was embarrassed. Yan Sichuan did not panic at all. He said lightly, "This hall is the son of my father. Do you need someone else to prove to you that my father's dictation is okay?" The man in charge of the guard choked, hesitated, and gave in. So Yan Sichuan went in. The guard didn't dare to question Emperor Baorong in person. Yan Sichuan said that he had no evidence in any case. The news that Yan Sichuan had entered the palace soon spread to the north side of the city, and his servants introduced them into the hall. Mo Shanghua and Ren looks at each other and stands up to greet each other at the same time. Yan Beicheng was in such a bad situation at the moment, but he still said with a smile, "I'm really moved that the 13th emperor's younger brother can come to see me at this time." The flower on the street is also the same person with black belly. A smile flashed in his eyes when he heard the words, but he didn't open it. Yan Xinchuan has always been quite confused and nervous. Seeing Yan Beicheng's look, all his worries disappear immediately, and then there are strong doubts. Brother Wu can still laugh now, which must have been expected. It's just that Xin Xian is stupid. He really doesn't know what he's doing. Yan Beicheng's mind has always been very deep. Now see Yan Xinchuan so asked, still Thing with a smile. 13 Emperor younger brother sit down first. Qinya goes to serve tea. Mo Shanghua, with the same calm face, gave an order to Qinya and sat down. In fact, today is when you don't come. Your brother and I will try to invite you to come. What does that mean? Yan Xinchuan's eyebrows and eyes were warm and moist. He still stood in the same place. The flowers on the street of Yanbei City looked at each other and only laughed without saying anything. The couple are playing a riddle, and Yan Xinchuan is full of confusion. This matter is very important. He can't figure it out for a moment, so he can't sit down safely. Mo Shanghua personally put the hot tea Qinya just brought up on the small table for Yan Xinchuan. Brother Shizenhuang, you'd better have a cup of tea first. Within 3 days, there will be results. Yan Xinchuan's heart was beating violently, and an idea came out of his heart. Is it? Tell your majesty, the king Yu outside the city has rebelled. Now we are fighting with the guards. The people in the city also killed Red Eye, and now they have got rid of the rebellion of the guards. What Baorong Emperor Hao also can't imagine, in his lifetime will give birth to such a big mess, suddenly up. The bodyguard who came to reply continued to speak tremblingly. Your Highness the King Ling sent someone to send a message. Please make your decision. Emperor Baorong was so angry that his voice was raised several times. His face was so black that he could almost drip water. What else can we decide? Immediately transfer all the forbidden troops. It's necessary to stop. If the soldiers are not enough, they will send the imperial guards with them. Just finish saying these words, he then violent cough. Lu Weng patted Baorong Emperor's back in front of the mountain. Your Majesty, please calm down. Dr. Lu has said for a long time. You can't be angry at will. The imperial guards are brave and good at fighting. They will settle this matter soon. Just relax. Baorongdi's cough was not relieved, but became more and more serious. After a long time, it gradually calmed down. When I spread out my palm, I saw a dazzling scarlet. Lu Weng was shocked and cried out, Your Majesty, you. Before his voice fell, Emperor Baorong's body shook and suddenly fell down. Lu Weng had a sense of propriety. When Emperor Baorong fainted again, he sent for the imperial doctor first, and then quickly went to Cunning Palace and invited Queen Lin to come. Now the Empress Dowager is still seriously ill. The news of Baorong Emperor's illness should not be spread out at will. It is the best way to find Empress Lin to preside over the overall situation. However, he miscalculated a lot of things. Empress Lin is Yan Moli's foster mother. As a mother, she should plan for her son at this time. What's the matter, Dr. Lu? Didn't you say before that your Majesty's health is all right? What's the matter this time? Empress Lin came fiercely and aimed at Lu Zheng for the first time. Lu Zheng bowed his head and said in a warm voice, I'd like to inform the Queen that your Majesty is now in a state of impatience. In other words, his previous diagnosis is all right. Unexpectedly, Empress Lin, who has always been virtuous and gentle, changed her face at this time and said coldly, It's clear that your medical skill is not good, which makes your Majesty's body bury such hidden dangers. Now she dares to argue in front of our palace. You don't have to come here for diagnosis and treatment. Our palace has invited too many hospitals to judge. She said this very sharply, no longer like the usual soft voice. As soon as the voice fell, 2 imperial guards came forward and took down Lu Zheng, and the rest of the imperial doctors who were in the palace were also taken down. Take it down. The expressionless enunciation behind Lin Huang. Lu Zheng had expected such a move for a long time, so he didn't panic or struggle, so he let the imperial guards take him down. Lu Weng was terrified and asked carefully, "Lady, this is?" Empress Lin glanced at Lu Weng from the corner of her eye, then turned around and stood in front of the collapse of Emperor Baorong. Her voice was solemn and cold. "The news that your majesty fainted again must not be spread out. Therefore, we have to do this. When your majesty gets better, we will invite you personally crime." As the words fell, a pair of imperial guards of 100 people suddenly burst out of the hall. But for a moment, they surrounded the whole hall. The uniform footstep outside the hall made Lu Weng's heart tremble and he knelt down. "I obey the order." Empress Lin nodded a little, and her voice slowed down a little. "All step back first, and the imperial doctor brought by our palace will diagnose for your majesty." Lu Weng raised his eyes and looked at Baorong Emperor, who was lying on the dragon bed. He closed his eyes. After a while, he opened his eyes and left the palace with a bent body. The hall was soon cleaned up, and Queen Lin looked at the imperial hospital, which ordered Dr. Lu. Lu Yui came over with his medicine box on his back and put his hand between Baorong Emperor's veins to feel his pulse. "Nyang Nyang, your majesty's body." But after a while, Lu Yuyi's face changed greatly, his lips trembled and knelt down, and he could not spit out the last few words anyway. Empress Lin already had the answer in her heart, but she still grasped her sleeve subconsciously. "Just say, what is it?" Dr. Lu buried his head tightly on the ground and said in horror, your majesty's body."